The Wapshot Chronicles gives the reader a glimpse into the lifestyle of a dysfunctional family from that time. It allows you to compare it to how we live today. It is a smaller book with only 300 pages, but it takes a while to read because of the descriptiveness and crazy diction that John Cheever uses to write. It is very hard to find a timeline for the story because there are people that talk about the Civil War and others that talk about rocket engineering. But the book was written in the 1950s. The Wapshot Chronicles at times can be very difficult to follow along because every chapter is told from a different perspective, and this makes the chapters appear out of order. The story will rotate from the perspective of Aunt Honora to Sarah Wapshot, and then switch to Rosalie and finesse her into the story. This is what makes this style of writing so interesting and unique. The further you get into the story, the more the chapters start to make sense and blend together. I had to reread the first chapter twice because I thought that it was an introduction paragraph that was not part of the story. The book is also hard to read because you will need a master's degree in creative writing from an Ivy League school to understand every word in the book. But the descriptiveness that Cheever uses added to the picture I was able to create in my mind, not only about the setting or what the characters look like, but I felt like I was given an opportunity to switch minds with the characters and feel the emotions and internal struggles in each character. My favorite example of this is when Aunt Honora finally finishes her rug and decides that she was going to visit Rosalie. When she arrived at the home, no one was there, and that is when her nosy personality stepped in and she decided to snoop through Rosalie's room and look around. Then she hears Moses and Rosalie come into the house and walk up the stairs. Honora hides in the closet so she would not seem rude for snooping. The book does not directly state what happened in the room, but it insinuates that Moses and Rosalie had sex. Not knowing, Aunt Honora was sitting in the closet listening to it all. Then Honora sneaks out of the house without anyone knowing, and she begins to cry, because whatever she heard or saw made her think of her tragic love life with the Spaniard and her late husband. One of the most interesting parts of this story is where Leander decides that Coverley was finally old enough to go on a fishing trip with him. His mother Sarah gave him a cookbook with over 300 recipes for fish because she knew her husband Leander was a terrible cook. While on the trip, Coverley asks his dad if he can read the book, but when his dad finds out what type of book it is, he goes on a fit of rage and throws the book out into the snow. This makes Coverley feel shame, and he feels that he not only shamed himself and his father, but he had shamed future Wapshot generations to come. But in today's generation, people are pretty much free to like or do what they want, and they receive little to no backlash or discouragement for it. It is very common nowadays to see men and women working the same job. I feel that this book would be a great read for someone that is struggling with their sexuality. One of the main themes of the story is Coverley's struggle with his homosexuality, and it has also been revealed by John Cheever's daughter that he had struggled with his sexuality when he was in his 50s. This is a very relevant topic for people today, and I feel that reading this book could give them a different perspective on their troubles and help them. The style of book is what helped Cheever to get over his struggle of writing longer stories or novels. He took every chapter and made a short story out of it, and he added different plots to help the characters tie together to share the same message. He also does a great job of showing each character's personality through the text. The best example of that is how Leander shows off his pride and hard-headedness when he talks about his boat, the Topaz. The Wapshot Chronicles was not his most known novel, but it was his first novel and won him the prize of the National Book Award. Overall, the book is a very challenging read and has incredible diction, and you will have to look up words in the dictionary. I would not recommend this book if you do not like to read or if you struggle to read over a 6th grade reading level. The book would make a great movie, and I think that reading it a second time would make the book flow easier and more enjoyable.